Patch 1.1 has just been announced by the developers. They've just provided some detail on it, and it is looking pretty damn sweet. Stick around to hear what you can expect when it drops on April 12th. Guys, hello and welcome. It's Skill Up here with a very quick rundown of all of the major information that was just released during the live stream from the developers. They've just taken the time to detail everything that we can expect to see in patch 1.1, which drops on April 1st, and it's looking pretty damn good. I had to get up at 5 in the morning to watch this one because I'm in Australia, but it was certainly well and truly worth it. Guys, if you like this video and this rundown that I'm about to give you, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe. With that, we'll sort of kick on with it. So first up, this is a free update, so everyone that owns the game now is going to get access to this game. You do to this update. You do not need to pay anything more for it. And in essence, the update will bring new gear and weapons. It will bring set items. It will bring player trading, supply drops to the dark zones, and it will bring, of course, the incursions. And we're going to talk through all of that right now. So let's kick off by talking about gear sets, which is something I'm personally super excited about. So yes, gear sets are confirmed. They appear as green items in your inventory. Quite similar, I suppose, to Diablo in many ways. The resemblances are quite striking in terms of how they've chosen to color their loot. But there will be 4 different gear sets available in this first patch. So the way that gear sets work is that you collect 4 items within a set to unlock a new and very powerful talent. Now, they haven't actually said what this talent is, but there are actually 4 gear sets, and they're each going to have their own different talents. So the gear sets are called the Tactician's Authority, which seems to be built around electronics and healing. There's one called Striker's Battle Gear, which is not apparently a tank set. It's just, they said it's a combat assault focused set. They were very unclear about that one. There's one called Sentry's Call, which is essentially for marksmen, or very precise sort of gunplay patterns. It rewards constant precision. And the next one is called a Path of the Nomad, which is actually a Dark Zone specific set. And again, they didn't go into too much detail about that one. So the key point to understand with these sets is that they have this talent that unlocks when you have 4 items equipped, but the individual items themselves do not have any gear talents on them. So currently, high-end gear has a talent baked into it. These gear sets will not have that. You're essentially trading those individual gear talents or gear talents for the larger set talent. So that trade-off had better be worth it. Otherwise, people are not going to be very excited about equipping this gear. So that's essentially how that works. Gear sets are obtainable from a variety of places. That you can get them from Incursions, and they've indicated that these are the best place to get gear sets. You can get them from challenge modes and from blueprints, and the Dark Zone specific gear set, the Path of the Nomad, is only going to be accessible from the Dark Zone. So that's it. That's what gear sets are. That's all we know at this point. I'm really excited to hear what those talents are, but we'll have to wait a little bit longer for that information. So the next thing that's coming through in this update as well is gear score is being implemented, which will demonstrate your item level. So for those of you that are not familiar with this, obviously we're all level 30 now, or most of us, but our gear is going to become more and more powerful over time. And gear score is essentially a means of measuring how powerful our total gear is. So the current item level system that you see on gear is being removed. So currently you look at an item and it's level 30, or maybe it's level 31. This is being removed, and it's being replaced with this gear score value. Now, the critical point about this is that you are actually going to be able to see other people's gear score when you are playing with them in party, and this is a really big deal. Currently, when people matchmake into a challenge mode, for instance, you have no idea if their gear is good or not. You're basically just hoping that they're properly geared, and if their gear is rubbish, you'll never really know, except for the fact that they're not going to be doing much damage and probably going to be dying all the time. So the fact that you're going to be able to see see this gear score is good for people who have enough gear, and for those that don't and are trying to sneak their way into a challenge mode, it's probably going to make your life a lot more difficult. Now, interestingly enough, Incursions on challenge mode have a required gear score, and I guess I haven't even talked about this yet, but there are two difficulties for Incursions. There's hard mode and challenge modes. We'll come back to that later, but the hard modes have a recommended gear score, but the challenge modes have a required gear score, so that when you are match made into an incursion, you are not being match made with people that do not have the right level of gear, which again I guess sort of reveals the fact that yes, you can absolutely match make into incursions. So Destiny players rejoice. This is obviously a hugely requested feature, and it's nice to see that Massive have implemented this one. Now, the other update that's coming within this is player trading. So the way that player trading works is that, if I pick up an item and I don't need it, I can actually drop it on the ground, and then other people are able to pick it up. The requirement or the restriction on this in the Dark Zone is that you can only do this at one of the checkpoint gates. That's the only place that you're allowed to drop these items, so as to avoid any kind of PvP shenanigans making your life difficult. So it's good to know that this is going to be happening. An item can be dropped an unlimited number of times over a 2-hour period, so that means you can keep switching it back and forth between people if you so feel the need, but after that 2-hour time period, that item is locked to you and you cannot trade it anymore. So that's gear trading. Next up, assignments. Assignments are also coming in this update. They are essentially sort of daily or weekly missions. The developers indicated there was a new part of the map opening up, and that was just a bit of a side point when they were bringing this up. But yeah, you'll have missions all over the map, and they are weekly and daily, and they will provide you with Phoenix credits. They'll give you Division Tech, and they'll give you a variety of other good rewards. They weren't specific, and to be honest, it's pretty predictable stuff in terms of what these assignments are. It's kill 10 cleaners, or craft 10 backpacks, or kill 10 rioters in the Dark Zone, or whatever, so it's sort of your standard stuff that you've sort of experienced over the years if you've played games like this before. But it's good to know that will be there, and they are activity agnostic, which means that it's not going to say something like do 5 challenge modes. It's going to say kill X or craft X, and you can do those in a variety of activities. So that's good to know that we'll have that freedom. The other thing that was mentioned in the context of the Dark Zone are things called supply drops. So supply drops are a drop from the sky that appears roughly every hour, and it provides really good loot for the very first group that gets there. Now, these are protected by apparently very tough enemies, so you can't just walk up to them and nab them. So you can imagine that obviously the whole server will be notified that these items are dropping. Everyone will be rushing to them. There'll be NPCs that are trying to stop you. There'll be other players going rogue trying to get to those items first. It sounds really awesome. And the key thing about this is that you actually don't need to extract these items. Once you've got them, they are yours to keep forever. I think we can all agree that Dark Zone needs a little bit of spicing up, so this is certainly going to deliver on that front, I think. The very last point before we talk about Incursions is that there is going to be a spectator camera which is going to be implemented when you die. Currently, when you die, it is super boring and you just sit there looking at your corpse. So the devs are fixing this, and you will be able to view other players when you die, which is going to be very nice indeed. So getting to the juiciest part of all of this, Incursions. So Incursions are coming out in this patch. The very first one is called Falcon Lost, and the devs went to great lengths to explain to us that it is super hard. They said that only their most capable players internally have been able to beat it on the hardest difficulty challenge mode, and that was only after they locked themselves in a room for 3 or 4 days to do so. So it's meant to be quite tough. Essentially, it seems like this is a bit of a horde mode. So from what we can see, the entirety of the incursion is set in one very large sort of underground hangar, and it's the objective that we see in the top right corner at all times is defeat the wave. So I can assume that there are waves of mobs that are coming out at you, and at the same time there's an overall goal to defeat a boss, which is an armored personnel carrier, which apparently you can't damage by shooting it, so you need to think of some other way to do damage to it, and apparently there are a variety of ways to do that, so that's kind of interesting. But that's essentially what it is. It seems like a bit of a a mix of horde mode plus take down the boss. There are 2 difficulties: hard mode, which, you know, is, I would probably guess, is somewhere consistent with current challenge mode. And then, of course, there is challenge mode for Incursion, which is meant to be super duper tough. And the devs stress that we really need to focus on, you know, proper group play and synergy and communication to bring these challenges down. Interestingly enough, it seems like drones are being added to the game as well in terms of as an enemy. So the LMB who will be fighting the Last Man Battalion will be utilizing drones, which is a nice new challenge for us. We've already said that matchmaking is confirmed for Incursions. So that's nice. The other thing is that there are no checkpoints during Incursions, which means if you wipe, you have to start again from the very beginning. And any Destiny players who have ever played Prison of Elders and have been trying to take down, say, Skolas or whatever, know that this can be a real heartbreaker. So this is going to be tough, and wipes are going to really, really hurt. Now, the rewards for beating Incursions include, they said, a really nice gun, they said gear set pieces, they said new high-end weapons that are going to be added to the game. So that's great to know. In terms of restrictions on how often you can do this, you can do Incursions as many times as you like and you'll always get rewards. However, the very first time that you do them in a week will net you more rewards, will net you more, you know, more bonus. You can do these you can get this weekly benefit on each character that you have. So you can actually do this up to 4 times a week, or as Hamish joked, up to 12 times if you're playing on all 3 platforms. The dev said that there will be more Incursions added in the future, and these are currently already being tested by the developers, so that's a really good sign. Yeah, so that's it. I guess the other thing they said is that set items, you know, are sort of the best and most predictable way to get set items is from the Incursion, except for, of course, the Dark Zone specific one, which you can only get from the Dark Zone. They did say that you will get a better chance of getting the best items, the best set items, the best weapons from challenge mode versus hard mode. So challenge mode is going to be the place to go if you want the best chance at loot. And finally, the devs finished by saying that, yep, there is more news on the way this week, and we can expect to hear that. But, you know, obviously this was a pretty generous data dump as it is, and there's plenty for us to mull over. So guys, that's it. I'm not really going to offer any sort of opinion on this at this point. I might do that a little bit later, but these are the key points. This is what came out of that stream. This is what's coming in patch 1.1. I think it looks exciting. I'm looking forward to getting into it, and I'm really looking forward to hopefully playing with you guys as well. So, you know, feel free to add me on Uplay. I'd really love to get some games with you guys. Of course, if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you guys soon in the Dark Zone and in Incursions. Take good care now. Bye bye.